Hey all, welcome to Parker's Reefs. On today's episode, we're going to check out probably the most incredible 18-month-old system I think I've ever seen. Let's check out Richard's Cade 1500. Alright, thank you for joining me on another episode of Parker's Reefs, and today is the day I get to get out and check out some other reefers' tanks. This is something I haven't been able to do for the last couple of years, so I'm super excited, and I cannot think of a better tank to go and check out than Richard's Cade 1500. This system's been running for 18 months, and from all reports, it looks like it's been running for multiple years. It's got SBS, it's got LPS, it's got a great assortment of fish, and it has just grown into the max with incredible growth and color. So I figured let's go see the man himself, let him run through what makes this tank run, what his secret sauce is to get this thing absolutely cranking in such a short period of time, and just taking the beauty of such a system. So let's roll the footage and check out how Richard goes with this Cade 1500.
So the tank was got wet, I think in about April last year. First coral in about 2 months after that. So the whole thing's probably about 18 months old now.
18 months old, not 18 years?
18 months, and
it's pretty well grown in.
Yeah, it's kind of hit a nice stable space at the moment. So there's a lot of kit on it that I've put on to automate it because I just don't have time to look after it, which I think is probably helps with the stability as well. I'm not playing around with the tank all the time.
For sure.
But yeah, not a lot of work done on it now. So it pretty much just looks after itself. So don't ask me what the water parameters are because
I won't.
I just don't know.
Tell us about some of this automation.
Yeah, so it's running an Apex on it. So that's kind of the heart of it. So Apex to control a bunch of stuff, and then we can have a look at what's outside. But it's monitoring all the parameters. Also, it's got a water change system on it. So I use the Apex to do things like send me signals or alarms around low salt water, low RO water. KH Guardian there, which is another gem. So that's looking after my KH. The rest of it is pretty much. Well, it's all set up to pretty much look after itself.
Happy days. So what does a typical week on the tank involve then? If it's as automated as possible, what involvement do you have?
So the most manual process I have, so I do, and this is a plug for Christian, I guess, so there is the Coral Essentials that goes in there.
Sure.
Which is nice. So every day, I guess there's a connection with the tank at the start of the day and at the end of the day.
So like doing the drops of trace elements?
Doing the drops of the black label.
Okay, yep, nice.
Everything else, I do dose trace A, B, C, but that's all on auto doser. So I guess a day for me would be have a look at the tank, make sure things are going okay, have a look at the Apex, make sure that there's nothing unusual there.
Sure, so general status report.
Put the drops in of the Coral Essentials and feed the fish.
Happy days.
At
You
night.
feed the fish at night, yeah.
Night.
So everyone feeds their fish at night, not in the morning. But
there's an auto feeder up there that gives them a top off during the day.
Beautiful.
So that they get a feed during the day and they get some frozen food at night. Pretty much that's it. You know, we've got, other than that, it's starfish or snails or something like that have knocked the coral around, so go in there and fix that up. But other than that, I really don't, I don't play around with the tank at all. And I think that's kind of been one of the secrets. One of the secrets. The other thing is, as you tell, it's not a manicured tank whatsoever. So I'm a big...
I don't know if I'd go that far.
Well,
I'm it's pretty manicured to me.
Well, once we get in to have a look, you'll see that there's warfare happening all over the place, right?
Yeah, but that's I mean, you've got a heap of coral in... It's not a small space, but there's a heap of coral. Like
It's growing in, but I guess I'm... You know, for me, it's an ecosystem, so I just let it take care of itself.
Yeah, it's very similar philosophy.
Yeah.
They're going to grow into each other and let them work it out.
Let it work it out, that's right. So I'm not in there, again, keeping my hands out of the tank. I'm not in there pruning, moving stuff around. I just let them battle each other out. And same with the sump. When you have a look at the sump, it's not pristine and clean. It's all part of the ecosystem.
Sure.
So...
well, it's working a treat. Speaking of the sump, or maybe just more so around the equipment, can you tell us around lighting, flow?
Yeah. So lighting has evolved. So I guess I've been I started reefing a long time ago and then got out of it for quite a long time. So it started in the early 90s and it was halides, right?
Sure.
So that was my experience with halides, and then T5s came along. So when I got back into it this time, LEDs was totally new for me, new technology, new experience.
Mm-hmm.
So probably one of the reasons why I went with the hybrids. So it's running the Aqualife T5 hybrids.
Yeah, nice.
And then
slick-looking fixture.
Yeah, and then it's got the 4 AI32s on it.
Yes.
And Vitaminis, thanks to Dave, just for a bit of pop. But there are some Philips Coral Care sitting there that haven't made its way up here yet. But I think the tank. To be honest with you, the tank's growing really well. I think I don't think you can go past T5s. T5s complement with LEDs. If you want to just keep it basic, I really don't think you can go past that.
T5s give you the spread, LEDs give you the control and the pop.
Yep.
And it's working a treat. When we meant to talk about T5s, this system runs...
There's four T5s.
Yeah, which is, it's more than a supplemental light. It's 4 T5s over it, plus the LEDs. It's a pretty 50-50 combo.
Yeah, and there's a fair bit of light happening there. I haven't done a lux reading for quite a while, but it was like the par reading was up there on it. That's for sure. Pumps the lighting.
Nice.
Flow,
yeah.
Yeah, so it's got I run a Vectra L2 return on it. I think, I throttle it down, so I don't use the full capacity of the L2. It's there if I need it. There's a manifold that we run through here as well, so it just gives me a bit more flexibility. That's the main return. Then there's a couple of, we've got the wave makers here on the side.
Yeah, so you've got a couple of
MP40s,
and a Gyre, a Max Spec Gyre.
Yep, Max Spec Gyre, which is just, as I found, the more the coral grew, the flow really dropped off significantly. Yeah. So without all the coral in there, the MP40s were doing a fantastic job. Soon cut that right down, so then the Gyre just gives you that flow over the top and gives you that circulation all the way through the tank.
This does what the Gyre is meant to do. Just gets that laminar flow around the outside and let the MP40s push it to the outside for the Gyre to pick up.
Absolutely, yeah. No, so for me, I think there's tons of flow in there. There's certainly more than enough. You can see it's quite a nice balance. Down here you've got some gonies, you've got some hammers that have got some nice movement to them, but they're not getting blown off their skeleton. And right next to it, you've got some SBS with great polyp extension, just dancing in the flow. So I think you've nailed the flow. Yeah, they're pretty happy.
As good as can be.
I'll tell you, talking about warfare, you're just pointing out one of the hammers there. These things. So that one, I was a bit upset by. They got stung by a goni just recently.
Oh, wow.
I was just too slow that red one, too slow to get in there. And
red one reached out and grabbed it.
Take him off, yeah. And you'll see there's the gold chalice there is being, last night he got stung again. So I think, I could move it. But
there's a bit hanging on there, so it'll come back stronger and hardier.
That's kind of what my philosophy is, right? So let's just see how it adapts and grows.
Now, speaking of some of your livestock, run us through some of the fish, some of the corals.
Yep.
Obviously, you're not going to be able to go through all of them because I'm estimating you've probably got 250 pieces of coral in there, maybe 300. There's quite a lot to take in, but if you can run us through some of your favourite pieces.
Well, certainly. Well, on the fish side of it, I think one of our first fish that we got was the purple tang there. So absolute member of the family, absolute pig of a fish too. So he's into everything. But you see more broadly, I guess there's tangs and wrasses. It's kind of the dominant fish in the tank.
For sure.
So we've got obviously yellow tang, purple tang, white-tailed tang, which is
white-tailed coral was just out. There he is. He's come back out. Yeah, gorgeous unit.
The obligatory, well, we did have 2 clowns. One disappeared, unfortunately.
That's got to have a clownfish.
Yeah, so obligatory clownfish and obligatory hawkfish. So I guess for me, it's a mixture of. I really love the wrasse. I love the characters of the wrasse and the tangs, and young kids. So some of it's for interest in the young kids as well. Seeing the, particularly the hawkfish, they've got such personalities to them.
Absolute characters, definitely.
Yeah.
With a birch bell. So you've got a Midas, golden Midas there.
Up there, that's
right. What type of anthias are these ones?
They are dispar anthonias.
Dispars, yeah, nice.
Anthias. So, I don't know, we've, as you find, with all these sorts of schooling fish, you start off with a few more. We've settled down to a nicer equilibrium of 2,
Yep.
but they're working well.
Just noticed an absolute beast of a Royal Grammar in there.
Oh, he's got... look, none of these fish are thin.
No, they're all beautiful, healthy-looking fish.
Yeah.
Absolutely gorgeous. But I think that's probably the largest Royal Grammar I've ever seen. He's still fairly cryptic, but...
He'll come out at feeding time. But yeah, that's...
Got no doubt he comes out at feeding time, yeah.
That's, I guess stepping back a bit, when I created the aquascape, well, there's a few things I'd do differently. One, certainly, I created it with a view of, fish and providing the hiding spots and the areas where you could have diverse fish population, so you're not worrying about one fish picking off another and no places to hide.
Yes.
But certainly, so there was a lot more space, I guess, and it's all been filled in with coral over time. So, we are going to look at renovating here and getting a bigger tank, and at that point, it's kind of like just create even more space. Think about the growth of the coral that's going to occur, not over the next 18 months, but maybe over the next 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
And account for that, because it's looking pretty packed at the moment.
It looks awesome.
on the corals, look, most of them are wild corals.
Yeah.
There's a couple of names in there, and I guess we've got one of your Dallas at the very back.
Oh, I can just see
kind
it
of
through
hidden
there,
up there.
Just in there behind the lighter green piece, yeah.
Yeah, so then the Green Goblin, so that's one's from Marcus, Reef Nerd.
Yep.
I think as well, or Jack Cullen gave me the Red Dragon. I think that might have been Marcus's as well.
Yep.
But most of the rest of them have been picked up just from wild colonies.
Yeah.
I like to get them in there and have a look and see what they can do.
Nothing wrong with a wild SPS colony, that's for sure. They come in such a diverse range of colours, growth patterns, characteristics. They look absolutely gorgeous when they're growing in such close proximity.
Absolutely. That Monty was a fairy lights there that David managed to absolutely brown out. But so it's going. I mean, you see, it's growing up the side of the millie.
Yeah. It's made itself quite comfortable in there.
It's just going to, it's just going to do its
Even
thing.
this blasto, completely in the shade under that SPS, still looks happy as Larry.
Yeah. So there is some thinking behind where I don't overdo it, but there's some thinking about where things go. So I do like got the tabling acros there.
Yeah.
Add some. I guess just add some contrast.
Some shape, yeah. You've got something tabling out over something branching up.
Absolutely. So that gives you flexibility then to put in some different corals that might like that lower light area. The ricks down there are enjoying the lower light.
Definitely.
As well.
Show us through the infrastructure in the system.
Yep.
What's keeping it running?
Yep. Okay, so we've kind of been through the automation side, and we can have a look around the back. We ran out of space in here, so around the back, behind the house, is kind of a lot of infrastructure that runs through. But in terms of dosing and stuff that gets added, it is the Coral Essentials Trace ABC
Yes.
gets added in there. I do dose fairly heavily on aminos as well. So that comes in. In terms of stability, I run calcium. I run a calcium reactor. And I don't measure the calcium, so don't ask me what it is.
Sure.
But I do measure the KH, which is the KH Guardian. You'll see there, it's got Corkwater in.
Yeah, nice little cover
again,
drop
that's
there.
kind of like probably back to my early day legacy where that's how it was done. And I've just found it adds so much stability to the tank. So that gets dripped in off because I think it's about 3.3 mil a day, a minute, I beg your pardon. 3.3 mil, a minute.
Yep.
And that just keeps up with evaporation. And that's kind of the bulk of the inputs to the tank. The outputs got down here, lifesaver for me was the filter roller.
Yeah, the Clarity.
So, I can't spend the time changing filter socks.
Yep.
So that's been fantastic. Can't go past the Cove skimmer in my mind.
Yeah, works a treat.
That's really important. And then there is a refugium here. I guess it can always be bigger, but I don't have space. But again, that
works.
Part of my mindset is I don't want to add a whole lot of chemical filtration
Yep.
through it. I'd
Yep.
rather keep it biological where I can.
for sure. Works in nature, so
Yeah, exactly right.
no reason why it can't work here.
Huge repository for pods down there. So
Yeah.
I'm assuming they work their way up into the tank. Certainly fish don't feed or don't starve.
Doesn't look like they're starving.
But no, so it's pretty simple. Main one is the Cove skimmer as far as removal of organics.
Yeah.
The Fuge. I do run GFO
Yes.
on it. And there's another canister just to the right of the GFO where if I want to put in carbon, I will do that. I don't run carbon all the time. It
Sure.
would be
It's just
by
there ready to
exception.
go.
Yeah.
Yep.
I guess the other major import-export is the auto water change. So
Yeah.
litre meters running on it.
Okay.
Changes about 10 litres a day.
Sure. And this is a Cade 2100?
K15.
15?
So it's as a percentage of water, I think that will probably be around 15% a
Okay.
week.
Yeah, nice. Perfect.
It gets up there. But again, it keeps the system absolutely stable.
It's working an absolute treat.
I guess that's the other thing too I try and do. Like at one point I was running a slightly elevated KH, but then, you know, the KH of the natural salt mix was lower than what I was trying to run.
Yeah.
So you're always kind of chasing this stupid balance around trying to get the KH stable. So just run the KH at what the natural KH of the salt is, which is 7.5 on this system. No shortage of growth.
No shortage of growth, no shortage of colour. If anything, it's a good testament for, as you say, whether it's the magical number or not, but if it means it keeps things more stable and easier to work with, then
I think
happy days.
Yeah, exactly right. I think just finding that every tank will be different as far as the parameters that it wants to stay at. So just finding what is stable at the tank and just letting it do its thing. Otherwise, you're continually trying to fight against a natural system that's trying to push you in different directions.
Yeah.
And that's how I think people run into trouble.
Absolutely. That's a treat. Do you want to show us the bits and pieces that
Absolutely.
didn't fit under the cabinet?
Out the back. So where do we start? So I think, so UV.
Yes.
I think that's the other critical thing for me. So, like, most of my fish come from Dave, fantastic quality fish. Do I quarantine them? No. Do I have time to do that? No. I have had ick in the tank at one point, way back. Never ever seen an issue with it since. And I think part of that is the UV. So run a massively oversized UV, 120 watt Pentair system. So essentially that's what this is, running the UV. And there's then the piping just enables me to direct flow as I need to. Chiller as well, again, that's stability. Get the temperature stable with a chiller, so it comes off here. I keep this on it because of the sun, so it doesn't wreck the acrylic. So Cove calcium reactor. Again, like it's been running about maybe 12 months. Haven't changed the media on it yet, but it's depleted.
It's been through a bit.
It's depleted some. 100 litres at a time of Kokwasser, so it just gets mixed up. People kind of think about, is it going to diminish in kind of strength over time? And it doesn't. It's really alkaline, and it will react with the carbon dioxide in the air to form a skin on top, and that prevents further kind of degradation.
Basically seals itself.
So
almost.
it seals itself.
Yeah.
So as long as you've got a lid on it and you don't disturb it, so you don't continue to mix it in this arrangement, it just sits there and static.
Mix it once, let it sit.
Mix it once, let it sit.
Yep. You then obviously draw from the bottom.
Draws down from the bottom here.
Yep.
Which is, so it leaves you, say, that much off the bottom for any sediments to come through, draw off hence the white all over the ground, draw off the sediments occasionally.
A little bit of sediment down there, sure.
I'm just whitewashing the ground. But that's the bulk of it here, so...
what an awesome space. You got your dosing and stuff out here too, I see.
So the dosings here, I guess on the Apex, all of these things actually have level sensors on it.
Yeah, nice.
So, and there's some smarts in it. So, not only will, say with the salt water or this, will I get an alarm if it goes down below a level over a certain period of time, we'll just switch stuff off.
Yeah.
Because it's on the litre meter, the last thing I want to do is be running out of salt water because the litre meter will continue to change.
Keep going,
And I'll just be diluting the salinity in my tank.
Yep.
And that's kind of where I've used I've used a lot of programming in the Apex just to try and make it as simple as possible.
Bulletproof as possible. Yep.
Absolutely. So that's where the leader meter is down here. He's outside as well.
Working well down there.
just down in there. That's a fantastically reliable piece of kit.
Yeah, they're
Never
pretty bulletproof.
If
you keep up with their maintenance, they just keep on working.
Had a photo reactor here, which was working wonders. So this was an old PacSun algae reactor that I converted to a photo reactor. I lost the air running through it also serves to mix it around. I lost the air pump on it and it crashed. The system, it crashed. So I've got some more photo coming through and get that up and going. But definitely believe that made a significant difference to the coral health as well. You certainly saw it in the polyp extension.
Yes.
On the corals, and that was just a steady, a little bit like dosing core course, a steady drip of photo.
Yep.
And I'd put it in towards the afternoon and then late into the evening. So I wouldn't dose it 24/7, but just that I'll get that going again. I think that worked really well.
Did the trick, nice.
Beyond that, come down here.
Sure.
Old RO system here, so auto top off using a TUNS system. Again, I've just automated this setup, and all this is a no volt release relay system. So start it, it'll just top up. When it hits the level sensor, it just breaks the contact, turns itself off.
Beautiful.
So some redundancy in here with 2 floats, but other than that, I just want to be able to press a button, make my RO job done.
Happy days.
So that's all that system. And then salt. So there's 2 100-litre drums of salt down there. One mixed and coming through. The other one just sitting there waiting to be mixed.
Ready to go.
And
what
that's
a perfect use of the space.
So you get creative when you have to. But it has been good. It's been nice. I guess you use the space available to you,
Absolutely.
right? So I've just been able to stretch this stuff out.
Well, otherwise this is almost wasted space, but you've been able to make it an entire fish room. It's awesome.
Out in the elements. But
brilliant. No, it does the trick perfectly. It's fairly well protected here.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty.
You're not going to get a lot of breeze. You get a little bit of sun, but you've covered the things that are a bit delicate to the sun. So happy days.
No, it's all good.
Brilliant.
There is, so I stuck a there's a Wi-Fi camera up there.
I see it there.
Because trying to relay instructions to someone who was looking after the tank it was damn impossible. So Wi-Fi camera, you can get on there, have a look. Is everything running okay? It picks up the drip from the calcium reactor. So you go, you know what, that's still going in. There's the roller mats or the filter roller's still working, skimmer's still operating. It just gives you a nice check-in when you're away.
It is amazing what a $100 Wi-Fi camera, the amount of sensors it can replace.
Absolutely.
Just logging in and giving a quick visual of things.
Just have a quick look. Absolutely right.
You go from sump heights to skimmer operation to filter roller to kalkwasser drips to the fish health, coral health. You can tell so much from a webcam.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and that's that. You could always stick another one up here and have a look at the tank. But a lot easier that way.
Absolutely, works a treat.
Anyway,
beautiful. Thank you so much for taking us through your Reef. I can't believe it's only 18 months old and you've already outgrown it, despite despite being a relatively new system. It's absolutely chock-a-block, and I'm really keen to see what you do with new system post house renovations.
Oh, absolutely looking forward to it. Looking forward to the house renovations first and foremost. But absolutely, yeah.
Surely the reef tank comes first. Dave was saying we're going to crane it in, and apparently that hasn't been agreed upon yet.
Now you're going to get me in trouble. Absolutely. No, thanks, Sam.
Thank you. Cheers.
Alright guys, there you have it. What an incredible tank. I'm so grateful that I got to go and see this in person. If you'd like me to come and check out your reef tank, please reach out in the comments below, because I feel like a fat kid in a lolly shop at the moment. I cannot wait to get out and see as many tanks as possible, get some footage, get some photos, which I must apologize to Richard for. I was actually going there to take some photos with my DSLR of your system, and When I got there, I realized I left the camera battery at home, but at least I was able to get this footage, and hopefully that will be a good memento for him before he pulls this tank down. I'll do what I can to get back there with my camera to get some photos before that time comes, and maybe even I can share that footage on here with you guys if you enjoyed the tank as much as I did. But I should probably start to wrap things up here. Thank you so much for watching. If you do have any questions, comments, feedback, anything at all, either from myself or Richard about his system, feel free to pop it in the comments section down below. I do personally reply to each and every comment down there, so it is the best way to get hold of me. Other than that, guys, be sure to let Richard know how much you enjoyed his tank, because I know he'll get a kick out of the comments, and it will also help this video rank in the YouTube algorithms a little bit better. So by all means, pop a comment down below. Till next time, guys, stay safe, keep reefing. Cheers, bye.
Moving forward.